Alright, I'm back here at Will's shop, Fish, Tackle, and Marine. Thought for a new video I wanted to check out some popular spots, and this came up in my train of thought because in here he's got a handout that he gives out to people that are always asking him where the best spots to go fishing are. So he's got a list of popular fishing spots here in San Antonio. So that's what I'm going to come in here for. I'm going to grab some things, grab that list, and then try to hit all the spots on that list. So let's get to it. No, you still got that paper with the list of all the locations?
Oh, yeah. I'm out of my papers, but I have it on my phone here if you want to take a look at it. You guys want to fishing?
Trying to. I just came here from Pennsylvania, so I'm trying to find good places to go fishing.
I just said something to him. What it is, I put together a list of most of the popular ponds around there. So depending where you are and all this stuff. That I'll text you.
Alright, got a list of 17 places here. I thought this would be a cool video to hit all these spots. Thought maybe I could do it all in one day, but yeah, that's not going to be possible. That's a lot of gas and a lot of driving. It's going to take longer than I thought, but I will be checking them off as I go, and I'm going to hit all of these spots in one video. Let's get to it. Alright, the next spot on the list, Elmendorf Lake. Pretty nice place. It's actually kind of cool today. It's a little overcast. It's supposed to be a little rainy, but I haven't seen any rain. Got the history of the area here. I always park right here off Commerce Street, right by 24th. There's a bridge right here that usually produces pretty well. It's kind of cool today. I think we might actually have a shot. This place does also have some unusual rules, like you're allowed to kayak and canoe. And I think even non-motorized boats fine in the main lake, but once you get up into the creek, which is probably the best place to fish, you're not actually supposed to have any boats or kayaks or anything up there. There's one major issue with this place. It's a nice park, it's beautiful, all that, good fishing. But when you come out here, you got to watch your back. I mean, a lot of people say don't judge homeless people, you don't know their story, all that, But I've been confronted here so many times and threatened for absolutely no reason. I mean, if you followed my channel for a while, there's a video right up here where I'm minding my own business and some guy comes up to me accusing me of following him around and recording him. And he wanted to fight me, he threatened to stab me. I got the whole thing on video. Stuff like that happens all the time. But today there's actually more than I've ever seen here before. Most of the time they mind their own business and leave you alone, but sometimes they don't. I was coming to fish under this bridge, but there is literally 30 homeless people hanging out under there. So that bridge is making some weird noises. I don't know if it's like something in the wind or cables or what, but it sounds like somebody's blowing a trumpet under it, but it's not. It's something in that bridge itself. I'm not sure if the mic is picking up that noise, but that's kind of creepy. Kind of sounds like that bridge is going to collapse any minute now. This spot produces sometimes. As far as like the open water spots, this might be one of the best ones. Because there's got this little deck thing that sticks out a little bit over the water so you can actually access some of the bank to the sides. But most of the best fishing is up under the bridges, especially this one here and the next one, which I can't get to because I think I already went over that. But there's some other walking footbridges. These are regular streets. Oh, there's a bite there. These are street bridges. Cars drive on them, so they're wide. There's a lot of structure under them because there's columns holding them up. but there's some footbridges further down in the main part of the park, the center of it, middle of the lake. And there's bass that hang out under those too. There's also a fishing pier too, which I'll have to get to. This lake does have a mixture of everything. I mean, I'm bass fishing right now, but it's also a pretty decent spot for catfish too. I've seen some pretty big ones get pulled out of here. I know they stocked some trophy catfish in here at one point. And the fishing pier is one of the better spots. These observation decks are great. Of course, there's nowhere to set up a rod holder or anything here, unless you got something right down in the grates here, but there's nothing to keep it from going side to side if it falls over. Oh, there we go, got one. On the swim bait. Why is my drag so loose? Like I was saying, this is one of the better spots. And it's not a very big fish, but it's actually not bad. I've caught a lot smaller out here. Caught a lot bigger too, but I mean, it's a small bass, but for this park, I mean, not bad. Also, that fish wasn't up against the bank. I had thrown it out a little bit, so more open water where there wasn't any structure. I'm at the other end of the lake. Guess I'm in better shape than I used to be. I remember it being so much farther. So, if you got kids and you're throwing night crawlers or catfish bait or something, this is the spot to do it right here. There we go. Got one. Better than the last one. So yeah, just throwing up into those rocks and the vegetation up there. Better than the last one. Not too much bigger, but better. Alright, I think that's going to do it. I got covered most of the park. There is more to fish, but I'm trying to keep these segments as short as possible. It's one of the better parks as far as fishing goes. I always catch something here. Sometimes it gets pretty sketchy, but that's kind of how the whole city is going lately. So it's on to the next one. At Brackenridge Park now. It's on the list. Probably the closest place to me that's on the list. This area here, I've never actually caught anything in it, but this area has been closed off for a while. There's actually some bass down there right now. So if I can get down there, I think I could catch something. They're doing some remodeling, renovations to the park. Little bits of it that are open now. I always have better luck farther south. The further south you go in the park, the better it gets. It's super shallow over here, but it looks like it gets deeper on that side of the river, which is also fenced off like this. There's stairs over there, but the gate is like permanently sealed off. It's just a permanent fence now. There are some bass hanging out over here though in the shallows. I can see them just making wakes. I might have to throw the small swim bait. Oh, has he got the hook? There's one on it, but no, he came off. He was just holding the tail. Alright, so I actually got a phone call, so I stopped recording for a minute. I just kind of tossed the line out with one hand. Didn't even reel it in. I got a bass, brought him in one-handed, and it was a little bitty, like 4-inch bass on this 2-inch swim bait. So technically that would be the first bass I've caught north of the low water crossing. There definitely are fish up here on this side. I just don't have any luck catching any of them. I mean, right there, there's cichlid, I've seen tilapia, I've seen bass, there's bluegill, other sunfish. I've caught green sunfish out north of here, but as far as catchable bass goes, I mean, they're in here for sure. There's actually one right there. It's the biggest bass I've seen so far today. Just followed me up. Right now, I just swam up to it again. Oh, another one just bit it. Okay, so they want it close to the bottom, apparently. There he is. Got him. There's my one. And he counts. He touched the bank. I touched him with my finger. He counts. there are definitely fish in this stretch up here in the main part of the park. I caught 2. Both of them were about 3 to 4 inches, not very big. But there's like a cutoff point, which is right here up in front of me. There's a low water crossing right there, right before I turned. And that's the cutoff point for me. Once you're downstream from that low water crossing, the fishing gets exponentially better. And the further downstream you go, the better it gets until you're into the golf course. Got him. A little bit better. Better than what I caught over there. Had to make sure my camera was on there for a minute. Didn't look like it was. Oh, still not very big. 8 inches maybe. Maybe 9 inches. 4 times as big as anything I caught over on the other side. But this side of the park is definitely where it gets better. And I can see some other ones down there that are much bigger. So, on to the next spot. Alright, I'm out here. Converse North Park. Next place on the list. Probably one of the best, if not the #1 best fishing spot in San Antonio as far as public waters go. Technically not in San Antonio, it's in Converse, which a lot of people don't seem to realize that there's other cities around and even other cities inside San Antonio. Converse is its own city, but it's close enough. It's straight back here. Let's get on the backside of the lake, head into the creek. I'm not gonna do that yet. This corner right here is really good. I'm gonna fish there, but the first place I'm gonna hit is actually up here. Might not be anything left living in here. Water level's down and it's very hot. This corner right here is one of the most productive. I would recommend wearing mud boots or rain boots or something. Or waders, because this is as close as I can get. Alright, so I fished a few spots that are shady on the backside of the lake. Now I'm going to come up into the creek over here. There might be fish in this, but it looks like it's just too shallow. It's caked up with algae and matting. Just casually walking by and Pete's counting one. How long you been standing here? About an hour?
Yes. Feels like it.
I mean, I've seen a lot worse come out of here, and that's the only one I've seen anybody catch today, so... Oh, well, you're off over there. I'm gonna snake your spot. Yeah, I don't remember if it was right here in this corner or up in the narrow part of the creek, but it was back here. Somewhere. Oh, there we go. Good fight, but this is a crappy rod, so... Oh, there we go. I'm so glad I decided to spend money and get those skinny Senkos back. Man, he's fighting like crazy. There we go. That's a solid fish right there, man.
Yep.
See, that's how you gotta win. You gotta sneak up behind somebody and steal their spot. That's solid fish. He's pretty heavy. Not as long as I wish he would be, but oh, he's a little bit longer than I thought he was. He's almost 18, 17 3/4. Those skinny sankles, man, I swear by them. Nobody else really puts any faith into them. .4. So I'm going to say 2.3 for the lip grips here. You've seen the evidence. There's definitely fish in here, and decent fish too. Now I'm kind of skipping ahead to the end of the creek over here. Not really much more you can fish past here. As far as I know, there's nothing else you can fish past here. This little pond at the end of the creek is basically the end of the line. This spot here, there used to be some bass in it. I haven't caught a bass out of it in a long time. This little pond is just stacked with sunfish, green sunfish, bluegill, and I think they've outcompeted the bass and drove them all out and killed them all off. Oh, one hit it right there at the end. I mean, if you're at this park and don't really care about what you're catching, you're throwing night crawlers or something, or small baits, and you're cool with catching sunfish, I would recommend just walking through the woods and finding this little pond here. Shade, you can set up some chairs in the shade, throw your night crawlers, and you'll be catching fish all day. And once you get back over into this creek area here and start following the creek, this trail comes up to the creek. It actually goes past. I don't know where it goes in that direction, but it's like an ATV trail. People ride dirt bikes, ATVs and stuff through here, four-wheelers. But once you get on this trail over there from the creek, it leads you straight back to that pond where I just was, and you can follow it back to get back to the creek and follow the creek to the lake. That way you don't get lost. All right, now this park might be one of the tougher ones, at least for me. As far as bass fishing goes, they stock it with trout in the winter, I know for sure. I don't know if there's catfish in it during the summer like some of the other parks, but it's right here off of Babcock Road. This is the Buddy Calk Trailhead, where I always park, but it's actually what leads to Earl Scott Pond, and that's the one that's on the list, Earl Scott Pond. It's a little bit of a walk. There's another park on the other side of it, but I think it's about the same distance. I've never actually been to that side. That's called Oxbow Park. Anyway, like if you're trying to put in the GPS coordinates or whatever to get to Earl Scott Pond, you got to put in either Oxbow Park or Buddy Calk Trailhead, which I always park off Buddy Calk because it's easier to find. The other one's back in a neighborhood somewhere. This one's right off of Babcock. So it rained earlier today. That might help out the pond. It might help out the bite some. Let's get down there and see if there's any fish. It's not a really long walk, not as long of a walk as what most people do to get to fishing spots. But I think out of this list, it might be one of the longer walks. But it's only like maybe a quarter mile. Oh, looks like everything along the edge on this end at least is caked up with algae. Or duckweed anyway. Now this park, I've actually only caught a couple of bass out of it. And even at that, they were fairly small. Like under 10 inches, I think. I don't think I've ever caught anything over that here. But I don't think they stock bass in here anyway. So there's definitely a good population of bluegill, sunfish, and stuff out here. I can see them all, and they are chasing this and biting it. So you target those, probably do pretty well out here. Throw night crawlers on a tiny hook, you'll just catch them all day. Oh, there's a swirl on. Oh, but I pulled it out of his mouth. So there is bass in here. I saw that one come up and eat it, but he didn't get the whole thing. So they're hanging out over there under that tree in the middle. Oh, wow, there we go. Got one. That was not where I wanted it to go, and I was trying to reel it in to get it off those sticks, and I had one blow up on it on the surface right there. So there we go. I was about to give up on this place. I mean, it's a tiny one, but it counts. See if there's another one out there. See if I can cast into the area where I was trying to cast. Earl Pond. Not very big. I was just able to fish the whole pond in about an hour. Did catch one, had a bunch of bites. Some of them were from bass, some of them were sunfish. I've never really seen anything big in here. If you live in this area and want to throw some night crawlers or something, or spend the day chasing panfish, it's a nice little park. It's nice, shady, it's not too hot. I would try to find a place where there's a little bit of a breeze, because over here on this end it's full of mosquitoes. The other end I didn't have a problem with that. Guess we'll go on to the next one on the list. Like the sun is finally starting to peek up over those clouds on the horizon. Just giving it a few more minutes so I can see what I'm doing. I'm at what I feel is probably the most popular park for fishing in the whole city. At least because I grew up on the Southside. It's definitely the most popular park on the Southside. It's one of the most heavily pressured. I've never actually had very good luck here. This is really one of those parks where bring your kids and some night crawlers and catfish bait. Just throw that stuff all day, catch panfish, small bass, catfish. There are a few spots tucked away downstream some where there's decent bass, but they're not all that easy to get to. There you go. Now everybody can see. It says no swimming, 1972. The Espada Dam, right where I was just fishing. It was built sometime between 1731 and 1745. It's originally 270 feet long. Built on a natural rock foundation. Oh, there we go, I got a fish. It's a bass. Wow. First bass I've ever caught out of the creek, I think. Come on, there we go. Tiny little 4 inches maybe. But hey, I'm gonna count it. There's a fish. Fighting hard for its size. That's crazy. It's a little tiny one. What is that? Oh, it's a cichlid. Okay, yeah, these cichlids do fight pretty hard. Of course, I don't think my camera can even pick it up. Barely pick it up. Rio Grande cichlid. That's pretty cool. I do like these fish. So you can see it better. There we go. Oh, never mind. Alright, this right here is the main part of Espada Park. This is the part everybody knows. You got the big dam right here, and then the bridge over here that used to be a low water crossing. When I was a kid, you'd be able to drive right through the river here, but they redid the whole river, restored everything, and they raised up the bridge where it's a regular bridge now. And unless the water's up real high, it doesn't go over it. But if the water gets up that high, they close the park. So this right here, there's probably, I know for a fact there's going to be fish down there, especially right in the middle where it's deepest. But I don't feel like trying to get down all these rocks or walking down that steep wall in cowboy boots. So I'm going to just come over here to the bridge and fish there. Like something big just swirled right there. Just happened to be right where I was casting. At least in the same area. There we go. Is that a fish? Oh, that's a good one. Whatever that is a good fish. I need to get down over here. Oh no, it's around the rocks. Where's he at? It's a nice bass. This is the biggest bass I've ever caught out of Espada Park. Can I swing him up over this bridge? Or this wall? That's a solid fish. Look at that. That's the biggest bass I've ever caught out of, especially out of the main part of Espada Park. He's fat. He's not very long, but he's fat. Looks like a spotted bass. Maybe it doesn't look like the lips. The mouth goes past the eyes here. Yep, spotted bass. Got that rough spot on the tongue. Whew. Let me see if I can get this hook out. Ugh. Try to get down closer to the water because this is as close as I can get, unfortunately. So I got to give him a little bit of a toss. But I threw him away from the rocks where he had room, so he didn't hit the bottom. Alright, next on the list, we've got the Greenline Park. This park here is probably growing in popularity faster than any other parks in town. Of course, it's already starting to get trashed. You got the nightcrawler cans here on the ground. That one's still full. All the chairs from the picnic tables are missing. Most of them are along the river or along the ponds or in the ponds if they haven't been taken home. This park is unique in the sense that it's catch and release only. You're not allowed to keep anything out of here. So while it might be heavily pressured, most people seem to be following that rule of releasing the fish. I haven't seen anybody keep anything out of here. Although I have seen a guy with a slingshot hunting ducks out here. Ducks and geese, but... Oh, there's a fish. Is that a fish? Yeah, there we go. I don't think I've ever caught one right in this little area here. That's pretty cool. Not a bad one. Might be the best one I've ever caught out of this little section, out of this particular little pond. There's a series of ponds that make up this park. There we go. Nice. It's probably 10 inches. Let's see. So this one is the first one by the parking lot where you come in. It's also the last one in the line, or well, the first one, depending on how you look at it. They're all connected to a creek that runs into Espada Park down there, on the other side of the road. But this one's downstream, the furthest downstream out of them. And the next one up, there's a small one and then a big one immediately after it. They're so close together, they're almost one pond. The biggest one is the best one, and then beyond the big one is another smaller pond, and that's actually the oldest one. That one's been here forever, since it was a golf course back in the old days. All the other ponds were built and added on later on, more recently, in the last couple of years. But that original pond has always had maybe an overpopulation of green sunfish. But the other ponds don't really have a problem with green sunfish, so I guess they've found a way to keep them from getting in there. And they've got a decent population of bass, as you just saw. I caught one on like the first or second cast there. You know what, I misspoke. This technically a pond, but there's another pond right next to it, and these two are, there's a dam separating the two. They could be considered one pond, but there's a difference in elevation, so I'm going to count them as two. So in total there's, I got to count them out here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least in total there's about 5 ponds, all in very close proximity. And then you've also got something that they call the hospital ponds, which are technically part of the Greenline Park, but they're about half a mile, 3/4 of a mile down the road by the hospital. And those are also catch and release only, but those also have bigger fish than these ponds do, by far. I've seen people catch 8-pounders out of those. Very rare. In fact, I haven't had any luck over there in a long time. We did a tournament there earlier this year. Come on, what is going on here? And everybody only caught little tiny ones. So, dang, that bait just got torn up because I got snagged. But, oh well. Up next on the list is somewhere I've never actually been before. And it's kind of hard to get here because there is literally nowhere to park. I had to park in one of the neighborhoods off in the back. Right off Ingram Road, Like this pond literally comes right to Ingram Road, but there's nowhere to park on that side. But this is John Randolph Wheeler Park, and yeah, I don't know. It looks pretty shallow. It's a very nice little park. It's pretty clean. Very shallow over here. Got a little fishing dock on it. Actually, not really a little one. Pretty nice one. But I think the water level's down from where it's supposed to be, so I'm not sure how good the fishing is going to be because it looks pretty low. But anyway, let's get to it. Very shallow. There are some minnows or fry or some kind down there swimming around. And there's some night crawlers. Interesting. From this dock, it looks like you could actually reach most of the pond anyway. So, see if there's anything in the shade down here besides turtles. Yeah, it's not really a point in casting in this direction because it's shallow over there. Looks like out in the middle is the deepest spot, but even that's not very deep. On the plus side, I won't be here for too long because it's small enough I can fish the whole thing in like half an hour. Yeah, straight down from the dock here, or the pier, it's like a foot deep, maybe. Like I don't even have my polarized glasses and I can see all the way to the bottom. Water level's very clearly down, at least a couple feet. I mean, yeah, this is just inches deep all the way around. I don't think any fish could really survive in here with this lake being this shallow. It's a shame. I guess that drought is taking its toll on just about everything. This is a really nice little park. Maybe it dried up and there's nothing really survived. Yeah, it kind of sucks. It's too bad. The next spot on the list is Lakeside, Tealer Park. Haven't been here in a couple of years because it's been mostly dried up since the last time I was here. And it looks like it still is because the water used to come up to where these trees are, and there's no water there anymore. So we're going to walk back up in there and see if there's any water left in the lake, and then if there is, we're going to see if we can catch something. That used to be fishable water. I've caught fish out of that spot, and it's all dry. So this might be a short segment for the video. At one point I came out here and it was almost completely dry, like you could walk across the middle of the lake and not get your feet wet. And then I came back after some rains after that and the water level was still pretty low, but it was a healthy amount. But this is like, there's trees growing out there where that used to be water. Like there used to be nothing out there, just clear water that you could cast into. Oh yeah, it's not as low as it was at one point, but the water used to come up to over here under this tree and stuff, and like you could just fish off this pier. And okay, it's not as low as it was the one time I came out here. The one time I came out here, it was like 50-60 feet out there to take up the water.
Sorry.
It's not fishable right here because you got these trees growing on the water line, but the water's not as bad as it was. I guess this is just the new normal. Check out the second pond over here. This one actually looks good. It looks like not as bad as the other one. I think this one's actually deeper. It's a lot smaller, like area-wise, but it's deeper. Oh yeah. Now you can get down and walk around on the edge there, but the water used to come up to right here. See how the water used to flow right through here between the two ponds. But as you can see, there's nothing down there now. It's bone dry. Oh, there is a fish. They're feeding on something out there. I see some wakes. I might have to get down here. There's an old floating out there. Somebody's bobber. And that's where the fish were surrounding a minute ago. So that's where I'm going to cast. Cast about 3/4 of the way over there right now. Oh, it worked. It paid off. First cast, I got one. It's a little one, but it's a bass. There we go. They are still in here. And this is the secondary pond, not the main lake. But if they're in one, they got to be in the other one, right? I mean, little guy, but honestly, with how much the water's gone down around here, can't expect too much more. There used to be some big ones in here. The first fish I ever caught that was more than 3 pounds was caught out of here. Alright, this is pretty much the last spot I can get to, so I'm going to go ahead and call it there. I've only been here for like half an hour. I caught one and lost one. Yeah, I know there's more fish in here. I think if I put some more time into it, I can catch a lot more. And I'm sure there's bigger fish in here than what I caught. I'm going to go ahead and call it there and move on to the next spot. That way I can sync up the audio later. Well, the water level's back up. It was real low for a long time. Oh, we came here on our first date.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And the water level was down a couple of feet back then. This is not going to be easy. I literally had to climb through all this vegetation to get over here. There we go. Oh, he came off. I mean, it wasn't very big, but it was a bass for sure. It's probably 8 inches or so. Alright, so there's some fish here, but I don't know if it's worth putting up with this heat for. This park would be a lot better if you came in the cooler months. Well, I guess every park in San Antonio would be better if you came in the cooler months, but this park doesn't like me. Although the last time I was here, I won a tournament, so. But I'm so sweaty, I can't even hold onto the line. You gonna go pet the deer? It's funny when they try to look around a tree at you, they just like bend their whole neck like a giraffe. Why is she not running away? So this is pretty much the last spot in the shade. So I'm going to let you have this one here in the shade. And I'm going to go in over here to the mouth of the creek and be there. And then I'll come back over here for a minute. Don't catch anything because it doesn't count unless it's on camera. Oh, it's all just mud. I was about to walk away, but that was a fish right there that just ate something on the surface right next to me. So I've actually got a tournament here next weekend, and if I catch anything during that tournament, you've probably already seen that video. And well, if I do catch anything, I'll also splice it in right here. Oh, please tell me I got one. Please be a bass. Please be a bass. Please be a bass. Please be a bass. It's a crappie. Are you kidding me? I just caught I've never seen a crappie out here. I would be really excited about this any other time. No. You did? Yeah. No. I got a picture for proof.
It was tiny.
I wasn't expecting anything out here. This is all sunny.
It was tiny.
I mean, it's more than what I caught.
It was probably about 8 ounces. When I caught the fish, I went over there.
Oh, yeah? So he must have been hanging out on the edges in the reeds.
At first, he was so light, I thought I tugged something. And then when I was like, oh, it's nothing, the wire kept going. I'm like, oh, no, I do got something.
All right, the next spot on the list is a place I don't really get out to very much because it's a little bit far out for me. Got Miller's Pond, channel catfish, and rainbow trout. They stock it in the winter with trout, in the summer or the rest of the year with catfish. Now there are actually some bass out in there, but it's very rare for people to catch those. So most of the people come out here for catfish, and then in the winter they come out here for trout. That's what I'm doing today, is looking for catfish. Now the places I've always had the most success are on this side to the right, It's actually the only side I've ever caught anything, but probably about halfway down, casting out around these trees that are out in the water, I'll usually be able to catch some, get some bites, or in the far down end in that corner back there. But coming in this direction from the corner usually works out a little better. Somebody's homemade rod out of a piece of PVC pipe. This place is very similar to Southside Lions. This is like the west side's version of Southside Lions. It's really a community catfishing spot. Big difference is, I mean, here, like I've been here for 20-30 minutes already. Haven't even gotten a nibble. Even chummed the water some, throw out some chunks of bait out there. And haven't gotten anything, but at Southside Lions, you know, I was getting bites immediately the whole time. I just couldn't get anything to eat the hook. We know that for sure there's fish there because there was a bird swimming around that dove down and came up with a decent sized catfish. All right, so I've been out here for a handful of hours and only got a couple of real bites and nothing got the hook. So well, here's some clips of another time I was here and I actually caught something. Is he on? Oh, there we go.
Is that a bass?
What is that's? It's a carp.
Oh, cool.
It's my first ever carp. And of course, it's too dark for the camera to see.
Hold on, let me.
Or for the let me get my light out real quick. I've never caught a carp before. This is my first one on a hot dog. Let me see. There we go.
Edmund caught the first fish. He's on the board. We gotta catch up.
My first ever carp. Take a picture for me?
Yeah.
There you go. Can't even see the fish because my hand's covering them. Maybe I'll switch this one up to hot dog. Or something's on there.
Nice, dude.
The rod never even bent. What the hell? Never even had any kind of indication of a bite. Look, what the hell? Glad my camera was on. I didn't.
Yes.
Never even had never bent or anything.
Look at. Oh man, Edmund got the skunk off the bank. Let's go, baby.
It's a nice one. Oh
Yeah.
no, I snagged somebody's stringer.
Are you kidding
There's
me?
2 catfish on a stringer. Way out there, somebody lost their stringer. What are the chances of that?
You need your wow.
2 stringers. See that? This is my hook and my weight up here. Let's see if I
Cut
can-
these guys loose.
Yeah. Let's see.
Unless you wanted to keep the cat.
I don't know how that happened. No, how are they hooked on? Oh, they're tied on. See if you can get the rest of that. It's like a wire stringer. What is it with me and catching stringers, man? Last time I caught catfish, that's how it was. All right, this one's good. You got it?
It was on.
I caught a stringer with 2 of them on it.
Yeah. Yeah, catfish. Good call. Good ID. All right. I still count it. Count it, dude.
All right, now we're at Padre Park. This park is probably one of my favorite parks on the river. Some of the most popular videos I've made were filmed here. This really serves better as a starting point because there's places to fish right here, but once you start kind of moving downstream or upstream, you end up in other parks. But this is a great starting point. The parking lot's usually not full, and you can go north up to Mission County, and on the other side, or you can go south into Espada Park, and they're not too far, so you can cover a lot of ground starting here. I'm gonna start off over here, walk down the chute, fish at the bottom down there. down right there for a minute. All right, so at the bottom of that kayak chute and this bridge here are the most productive spots inside Padre Park. If you cross the bridge, come up these stairs over here, there's actually a pond. There's another Asakea Creek, irrigation channel creek over here, and it fills up a pond right over here. So let's check out the pond and see if there's anything biting in there. I guess I spoke too highly of this place. Decided to humble me, frustrate me. There's a fish right there. I can't tell what it is. Looks like it might be a sunfish. Let's go out there near it. Going after it. So every time something touches the water here, it gets covered in slime, algae, and leaves. Makes it unfishable. Let's try to get over closer to that tree where I can be in the shade. I think I got a fish. Grabbed it on the drop. There we go. I didn't even feel him hit it. There we go. That's more like it. It's fighting pretty hard. Yeah, I was worried about that. He did swallow it, but I think I can get it out. No, he didn't swallow it. I'm good. Decent fish. Fought hard too. Alright, the next spot on the list here is Southside Lions Park. There's a handful of places to fish here. The main thing that people go to is the lake, but then there's also the creek in the back, which is where I'm heading right now. If you're going to do any bass fishing, you go to the creek. If you're going to do cat fishing, you go to the lake. But the main thing to do when you come to Southside Lions is not to bass fish in the creek, it's to catfish. Oh look, there's a little snake. Where'd you go? So catfishing is the #1 thing to do at Southside Lions, and then in the wintertime they stock it with trout. So that's what people come here for the most. But there is a little bit of bass fishing. Mosquitoes are out, of course. Wintertime, the mosquitoes, well, cold anyway. The mosquitoes shouldn't be out in the cold. Biting this one, but I think it's a pearl.
Did it get away?
No, he still
got it.
Alright, that's gotta be a 12-inch catfish.
Alright. Oh.
He swallowed it.
Yeah, he got it.
Come over here.
gonna have some weight to it.
Making some splashes out there. That's a nice one. That might be the biggest. That might be the biggest one I've seen here.
Dang.
Are they stocking them that big in here?
Well, no, it's all the quarantine stuff.
Yeah.
Look at that. Chewed up that chicken. Well, they say everybody loves chicken.
Who says that?
Well, I do at least.
That's a good 18 inches, 17 inches.
Yeah. That's a good size cat.
Gonna keep him?
Nah, I'm not gonna keep anything today. Right in the corner of the mouth. Picture? Ooh, there we go. That looks like a better one right there.
Feels better. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Maybe as good as your first one, maybe not quite.
I'm getting a hit over here.
Are you?
Trying to record you at the same time.
Let me see.
Here.
This fish is in already. We gotta. Is he on?
Yeah, I
Got him. Oh, and this one set himself free. So let's get this fight here and then.
Oh, did he get off?
Did he?
Got off. Ah.
Oh well.
He's swimming towards me. Yeah, he's swimming towards me. There we go. Double.
Double up. That's pretty good.
Not too shabby.
Alright, next up on the list is one I'm not too sure about. I think I've only ever caught like one fish here. And since we've been in a drought the last 2 years, I'm not sure how it's going to be. But this is Stablewood Farms. And the water level is down pretty far. It's also very, very green. Like there's algae, there's an algae bloom in it where there's no visibility. But let's come down over this way. I think I'm going to fish around the fountain in the middle. Okay, now that I'm down closer to the water, and maybe it's because I'm near the fountain over here, but there's a little bit of clarity to it. There's a little bass right there. Little bitty guy. He's probably like 4 inches long. Oh, got one. Let's see. Oh, he slipped off. He didn't have the hook. So it must have been either a sunfish or a very small bass. Probably that, about the size of that 4-inch one I saw earlier. Oh, oh, he's, dang, that was a big one too. He snapped me right off. No, he didn't snap me off. He just took the bait off the hook. Okay. I thought he snapped me off. That sucks. So this is already the most bites I've ever had out here. So let's see if they'll go after an orange swim bait. Yep, he sure will. But he didn't get the hook. So that's 3 bites. The best I've ever done out here was 1 bite. And 1 fish. Landed in somebody's old line, tangled up over here. Forgot to turn my camera on, and I got a big blow up on there from what I thought was going to be a bass. It's got this green sunfish, a lot of yellow under him on the bottom belly. Big mouth. Hopefully this isn't. Well, I mean, if these are in here, it's kind of a problem. But I know there's bass out there, so there's at least a fish. And there's some bass in here, but I don't know. I don't like seeing green sunfish in a pond like this where the bass population is struggling, because those green sunfish are gonna just out-compete them and out-survive. Of course, I forgot to turn my camera on, so you guys didn't get to see any of that, but luckily it was just a green sunfish and not a bass or anything more exciting than a green sunfish. Alright, so I was able to fish the whole pond in less than an hour, and I decided to come back over to this end where I was getting the most bites before I leave and see if I can pull something out. I was able to catch one green sunfish, but I had a lot of bites, more bites than I've ever had here before, and the ones that I saw were bass, and one of them was a halfway decent bass. So Stablewood Farms, you know, the water level's down pretty far, but does seem to have a decent fish population. I'm not sure if there's anything really big in here, probably not, because it is heavily pressured, but they're in here. So on to the next spot. All right, the next spot on the list is Tom's Lake Park. Most people come in on the other end of the park by right off the highway, the entrance that's right off 151. Personally, I come in off Timber Creek Drive, I think. Timber Creek Road, Timber Creek Drive, something like that. But it's a shorter walk to get to the pond. But a lot less parking. There's only like 5 parking spots back here. So if it's filled up, you're gonna have to go in off of 151 and have a lot farther to walk. This pond here, I have not been to in a very long time. I was planning to come out here. Today I was planning to come out here. It was closed for some police investigations, so I'm not sure what the water is going to look like. The last time I was here was before we got into this heavy drought, and the water level back then was very far down. What was one pond got separated into 2 ponds, and the water level just kept dropping from there. It's also a very long drop if you were to slip off here. It looks like they might have made some changes to it here. Like maybe they added some of these rocks. But it looks like they've added a place to get down on the side over here. I know there's the old way to get down close to the water over there, which was always not a good place to fish because people would take their dogs and let the dogs play in the water there. But since the last time I was here, they did put up a sign that says dogs are not allowed to be in the water. So that's pretty cool. Problem with Tom's Lake Park is a lot of the areas to get to fish you gotta climb down into like this, and they're real steep. They have done a lot of remodeling out here. Added all these new trails and stuff over here, and some grass, or they laid down this mesh netting with the sprinkler system, so they're probably going to fill this up with a little bit of topsoil and plant stuff on it. Guess they changed the landscape of it because it used to go further back over here and there was a second pond, and then this path right here in the middle separated the two. But now they've built up the ground over there and they're planting on it, and it's just the one pond now. The rocks out there in the middle, those used to be completely submerged because the Loch Ness Monster sculpture is on there. So I haven't seen any bass, and out of all the other people fishing around here, I haven't seen anybody else catch anything. But I have been seeing sunfish, and I've seen sunfish chasing and eating smaller bait fish. But I mean, there's got to be still bass in here. If not, then I guess we need to start a petition for Texas Parks and Wildlife to start stocking this place. I mean, it's bigger than Earl Scott Pond, and they stock that. There we go, got one. Finally. Not very big, but it's fat. It's got a crawfish down in its gullet too. Nice little 1 pound little chunk. First bass I've ever caught out of this park. First fish in general. I haven't even been able to get any of the sunfish here. Doesn't look like he's been caught before, but glad to have it. All right, next spot on the list is Woodlawn Lake. Pretty clear skies, mostly. It was a little bit rainy earlier, but it's not too bad. It's kind of cool right now, which is weird for July. I parked over here in this area. It just comes down towards the creek and that feeds into the lake. Underneath this bridge right here is the best spot on the main lake that I've fished. As far as the main body of water goes, this is usually the most productive spot. Can't get a clean cast here. You need to be on the other side, which isn't really accessible. I mean, you can get down there, but it's real steep and there's no trails or paths or anything on that side. The main lake here at Woodlawn is always very tough. Like, I mean, they've stocked it more recently than they've stocked Elmendorf, but Elmendorf is just better overall for fishing. I mean, a couple of years ago, they stocked some fingerlings in here that should be up around 2 to 3 pounds by now, but it's rare that anybody even catches them out of the main lake here. You'll see people set up with catfish rods and baits, and I've never actually seen anybody catch a catfish out of here, so I don't know if there's actually any in here. I do know there's gar in here. The whole lake is man-made, so the whole thing is just the same depth all the way around. Like, they just dug a 5-foot deep hole and filled it with water, so it's like the same depth all the way around, like straight off the bank, straight down, and all the way around. Of course, I mean, over the years and stuff, silt and stuff gets moved around, so there's probably different elevations now. It's probably more shallow, especially up around the banks, but originally that's what it was. They just dug it down the same depth all the way around and filled it with water. There's the lighthouse out in the middle of the lake. The light's actually on. I don't remember ever seeing if the light was on before, but I'm usually not here at night, so guess I wouldn't notice. Alright, so I fished the whole side of that side of the lake, not a single bite. So just to ensure that I get something, I'm going to cut across the street here on the other side of the casting pond over here. I'm going to go down to that creek, pull out a fish or two, and then I'll head back and finish the rest of the lake. Crazy thing is the same water that's in the lake, but this water is so much cleaner, clearer. Got algae and everything on it, but you can see through it. There's one. Oh, it's a good one too. Oh, well, it felt like a good one at first. I don't know. It's fighting nicely. I think he went into vegetation and got snagged. Oh, he came off. That was a 2-pounder at least. Oh, there's a good one. Not as good as the last one that I lost, but there we go. About a pound. Here we go. That's the key to fishing this creek is you just got to hit that bank constantly because they're all up in the vegetation on the edges there. Probably in this vegetation too, you want to hit both banks, but it's just easier to cross and to throw across that way, and you're definitely going to get more. You got more places to cast. On this side, you can only cast one direction and kind of drag it along the bank. You can't hit the spots like you can over there. It's starting to get dark though. I should really get out of here. The next spot on the list, Ethan's here with me. None of this was here last time. We rode the bikes out here. There's all these brand new picnic tables. This is Converse City Park. It's been a few years since I've been here and none of this was here. Like, you had to hike all the way from the other end of the park to get over here. Now there's a road coming all the way up to it, plenty of parking, shade, picnic tables, brand new benches and everything. It's nice. And there's 2 ponds. There's this one over here. Looks like it might be a little bit shallow, but it might have some depth in there. And then we got another one over there that's got a brand new fishing dock on it. So, I mean, you can see the water level's way down from where it's supposed to be, but the water still looks good. One of us is gonna fall. Might as well get it on camera. stick in the shade over here, casting along the bank. Got the dock directly across from us over there. The trash can holding on for dear life.
Yeah, they gotta be underneath the dock.
Yeah. That or maybe there is a fish to kill, because we've been in such a drought lately. And it's still pretty low from where it should be, so. Because, I mean, there's no way they meant for the dock to be at an angle like this. Oh, I got one. He's fighting pretty hard. I don't know how big he is though. He's a little guy who swam into the weeds, so he feels heavier. There we go. They're in here. He was not coming off either. It's a good looking healthy fish. He's kind of small, but it's a good sign for this place that I wasn't sure if there was any fish in it or not. Alright, I think my battery is about to die, so probably gonna call the video right here. I did catch one, lost a couple. There are some big ones out there that we see jumping around. They're going crazy. They're just really tough to get them to bite, but they're in here. So I'm really impressed by this place. They cleaned it up nicely. They made it look really good, and there's definitely fish in it. We're at the last spot on the list, Crescent Nature Park. It's been a few years since I've been out here, so I'm not sure how it's gonna look, what it's gonna be like. Oh, look, the water looks good. Looks better than it did the last time I was out here a couple years ago. Oh look, there's actually a decent sized bass right there. Oh, look at that. He went after it as soon as it hit the water. Did you see him? Mm-hmm. But I missed him, of course. Oh, it's another rabbit. That one's a cottontail. The other one was a jackrabbit. So you can see all the fish everywhere. Just nothing biting. Oh, there we go. Finally. What do we got? Look at the colors on them.
Ooh, it's pretty. What the hell is that black shit?
That's algae. The moss. So there we go. Little guy. But there we go. We're done. We can leave.
Oh, I got one. Oh, wait, no.
No, you got the algae. Oh, look. He went after it. Eat it. Got him.
Ah, you bastard.
And he's into the algae. I just saw his weight going for it. Yeah.
Ah, you bitch.
This is a family channel.
You kill animals.
No, I don't.
You ain't better than us. Y'all, he's gonna shoot the fish soon as he drop them.
he goes? He's over there.
Come get nose.
Oh, look, another one's going for it. Eat it. I saw the wake chasing it. Oh, there we go. Got one, but he's under the algae. Feels big. But I don't know how big he is with all the algae on him. What the hell? Looks like a beaver covered in algae because he's covered in algae. There he is. Thought it wasn't a fish there for a second. Wow. Oh, that's a good one. A little skinny, but
Hold it up again. There you go. Alright.
you got it. About 14 inches, 15 maybe. This was the last park on the list. I kind of think it was like the best for last kind of thing. Because I mean, we've only been here for like half an hour. Caught 3 fish, and one of them was pretty nice.
That is nice and cool.
Nice, yeah, a lot of shade. Oh, got him. He's trying to get up in the roots. I like this park. I think I've only been out here like twice.
You've ever been out this far?
Not upstream, I've always gone downstream.
Like it breaks. It splits.
Yeah, it looks like it goes around like a little island over there.
You know, I haven't seen any turtles.
That's interesting. I haven't seen any turtles either.
Just me and my line. Got a rusty old hook and a can full of time. Dollar store lures and some worms on my side. Fishing on a dime with that cheap angler pride.